Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. Now, I'll be converting a day scene, which is this scene by here, where this guy then walks into frame up to his car. We're just going to be working with the first seconds of it, and we're going to be converting it to a night scene, okay? So as you can see, we've got a day shot, and then I'll show you the final. So let's give this a play. And you can see we've converted it to night, and then he's not in the light, and then he eventually does walk into the light round about by here. Yeah. And then he'll walk around to the back of his car, and let my computer catch up. Walk around to the back of his car, and then that's it. So we're going to be converting this from day to night. So all we've got going on is a couple colour adjustments, and well, multiple colour adjustments, and then some adjustment layers to add in the lights. So I am going to delete this composition, just so my computer isn't trying to do that in the background. Yeah, I'll delete that because and I've imported my footage. Now, as I said, this footage will be available in the link below. So I'm going to drag this on into the composition. And as I said, I'm going to work with the first 10 seconds. The car does drive off, so you can animate the glow, just track it to the light. I have got some videos on tracking if you want to check that out, but in this I just want to show you how to do a simple day to night conversion. So I'm going to hit N, so we're only working with this bit of the footage. Now, if you're going to film for this, you just want to make sure that when you do film, you film in sort of shade, not direct sunlight with shadows, because if you have shadows, then it's it's a lot more difficult to get rid of them, and you just want no shadows, and yeah, overcast, and maybe try and shoot it ever so slightly underexposed. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a hue and saturation onto this video layer, because when it gets dark, a lot of colour goes away. When it's dark, there's not a lot of colour, so we're going to take the saturation down to about -40, something like that, maybe even -45. Yeah, I think that's good. And let's minimize that now, because that's all we're going to do with that one. And let's put a curves on this layer now, just like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this white point all the way down to about here. So we're taking all the brightness out of it, and then you can bring down the mid-tones just a touch as well. Next I'm going to go to the reds, and I'm going to decrease the reds to bring them out. It starts to go a little bit cyan, and I'm going to decrease them there. And I'm going to do the same with the greens. Just take some of them out, taking more colour out. And then with the blues, I'm just going to increase the mid-tones just slightly, just to get that sort of blue tint, because that'll maybe things isn't. We're not going to make it too blue, because if you make it too blue, you kind of give it away. But at night time, things do have a blue tint. Now, all we're working on for the moment is the ground. We're going to do the sky separately. So just kind of look at the ground. If you were at the beach and it was dark, this is probably similar to what it would look like. So I'm going to minimize that, and this is our sort of foreground. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hit Control or Command D, and I'm going to duplicate that layer. Okay. And I'm going to delete I'm going to just reset both curves and the hue and saturation. So we've got a completely new layer. So what I'm going to do with the hue and saturation at the top, I'm going to click Colorize, and I'm going to drag the Colorize hue until it gets a little bit blue like this. And then I'm going to bring the lightness of the blue down. I'm just focusing on the sky for to about -70. Yeah, I'll do. And the saturation, I may bring it up a touch, maybe to 35, and then down darkness again, -85, and then, yeah, so something like that. Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to come back into the curves, and then I'm going to bring these down. And I think actually, looking at that, I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to bring a saturation down on the night sky to about 30. Okay, and darkness, no, I'm going to keep the darkness as it was, and we can play around now in here. Maybe bring the mid-tones down a little bit, something like that. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get this rectangular tool with this top layer selected, click it, and then we're just going to mask off this sky, okay, because it's just the sky we were concerned about here. And with this mask now, I'm going to hit F, so we get the mask feather, and I'm going to put that to about 250, just so it feathers off, okay. And what I'll also do is bring this top bit up further, because it was masking off, it was starting to mask off at the top, so we just want it to fall off at the bottom. So that being said, sky's a little bit too blue at the moment, so I'm going to go and come into the blues in the curves, because I've already played around in the hue and saturation, and I'm going to drag them down just a touch. No, that's too much even. Tell you what we can do, as this is a masked layer on top and the sky's already quite dark by here, we're just going to play around with the opacity of this layer. So let's take it down to 70. I think that's looking a little bit better than it was. Yeah, so 70-ish. And let's click off. Okay, now if we were to duplicate this layer again and take all the effects off, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what progress we've made. This is what we started with. I've gotten rid of the mask and the effects, and this is what we're currently on. So we're definitely getting there. We're setting the scene. Now the thing we want to do to kind of really pull this off is we want to start adding some sort of light coming out of here. So if we go right click down here in the empty space and go to new adjustment layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen tool. I'm going to come up close to where the light will be shining from, and I'm just going to come and draw something a little bit like this, just where the light rays are going to be, okay? And I'll control click this handle just to make it flat like so. Cool. Now with this adjustment layer, let's quickly rename it light ray, just so we know what it is, and I'm going to drag a curves on there. Okay, and all I'm going to do is take the white point for the curves and increase it up like so. And what I may also want to do is go into the blues and bring down the blues so it goes slightly yellow, so it's got that yellowish haze. Okay, that's looking good. So what I want to do next is turn off this outline because it's obstructing my view, and I want to hit F on this light ray, and I'll go to the mask feather, and I want to take this up to about 28. Let's put it to 30. Okay, now obviously that's still not working, so what I'm going to do is right click down here, new and solid. I'm just going to create a new solid layer, and I want to put a ramp on this. Okay, so just type in ramp and drag gradient ramp onto there, and then I'm going to put my start point by about here and get my end point and have it about here, and we're going to use this as a luminance map. So if it's actually we're going to swap these around. So where it tends to get darker, that's where the light's going to start falling off. Now I'll show you what I mean. Let's get the light ray layer. Make sure you can see the track matte. If you can't, just click toggle switches and go to Luma matte. So it's going to use the luminance. Okay, so it's turned this layer off, but we can still work with it. So what we want to do is click this gradient, and you can see as I move these, it's using the luminance of that gradient to kind of you know, show how far that light's stretching. So I'm probably going to go out to about here, and I'm going to move this to about there. Okay, now that's looking pretty good. Next thing I want to do, there's only two things really. I want to add a little strong shine of the light by there, and then I want to do a quick mask so it doesn't affect this guy all the way. So I'm going to right click, new adjustment layer, and let's zoom in. I'm going to get my pen tool, and I'm just going to draw just a little shape just by here. Something like that's going to be fine. And let's drag a curves onto it, like so. And I'm going to get this white point, and I'm going to go straight up. And I'm also to about there. And I'm also going to go into the blues, and I'm going to take the blues down so it's got a yellowish tint again, just like so. Okay, next thing I want to do, I want to go into the feather, so hit F on this, and I want to feather this by about, let's have a look, let's go up close, by about 50. I think 40, yeah, 40. And then let's rename this to strong light glow, and then I'm going to Control and D to duplicate it, and this one I'm going to go to the feather options, and I'm going to put this to about 60. Okay, And then I'm going to duplicate it one more time, and I'm going to go to the feather options, and I'm going to turn this to about 5. So then what we've got is we've got this strong light on top, and then we've got the light, a sort of back glow and a sort of mid glow by here. Okay, so this is what we're working with so far. Okay, now you could tone that down a little bit, so I may take the opacity of this layer, put it to about 75. I think 85. Yeah, that's looking better. Now, this is working quite well so far. Problem will be when this guy gets to about here, round about here, we don't want the light to be affecting him. So mine actually isn't, because it's only a very subtle glow. But if yours is very, very strong, so let me show you an example. Let's say, no, let's not do that. Let's just go into the, I'm just going to go and make mine stronger. So let's go into the ramp. And yeah, you can see way back here, it'll kind of be affecting him. Now, that's not good anyway, but you should have it up to here because it wouldn't shine out that far. So you may not need to actually mask it, but I'll show you just in case you do in your version. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this footage, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move it all the way up to the top, and then I'm going to minimize these hue and saturations, delete, and I'm also going to go into the mask settings by hitting M and delete this mask. So we've got a brand new piece of footage. Now, a nice little trick we can do, if we go to extract, like so, drag this extract on, and we want to go to the white point, and we're only going to pull a very, very, very rough key around him, okay, like so. And then what I want to do is I want to get this mask and just mask around here, so I don't want any of the floor involved. So we're just going to have him like so. So we've got him, and basically we're going to put him back on top, okay? But we need to go back to this bottom layer and get this hue and saturation, copy them onto the top, so nothing's changed, okay? But if you turn this on and off, if you zoom in by here, turn it on and off, you can see that we're keeping some of that detail. And he's going to be moving so fast. There is a little bit on the side by there, but you would expect part of him to catch bits of light from possibly moonlight and stuff, so it's not that big of a deal. So that being said, what we want to do when he gets close to about by here, we want to hit T, and this is on 70% opacity, and then come forward about 10 frames till he gets, or about another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now he's probably walking in front of the lights, and you want to fade this down to 0. So now the lights will be affecting him, okay? Just as he walks into that light, but back here it's kind of blocking. So what I'm going to do before I finish up is I'm going to go back to my ramp, and I'm going to move this because realistically light there's no fall off because you can see the edge but there. So I'm going to drag this so there is some fall off, and it doesn't really need this top bit really. See, it doesn't do that much now. But it does add a little bit of depth to it as well. So then what you're left with is you've got this shot where this guy walks in. Just want to move this back again actually to there, so you got that nice fall off then. So you've got this shot of nighttime, and this guy walks in and he goes around, walks behind the light, and then goes to his car. Okay, so that being said, looking just very, very briefly at the rest of the shot, up until about 35 seconds, I think, the car's static, okay, or 40 seconds. The car's still static, but it does drive away, okay, at the end. So what you could do is you could animate the position of these glows to go with the car. Let's just do that. Or you could track it, it's up to you. You need to find the point where this car starts moving, really. So it starts moving kind of by here. So let's get all of these. You could either track it or just briefly animate it. So light ray and these strong light glows. Let's hit P for these layers. Let's click positional keyframe, like so. So we'll set a positional keyframe. Let's come forward about 30 frames. and zoom in so we can see when it starts moving. I'm going to do this very roughly. Okay, extremely rough mine, but you can obviously spend a lot more time because obviously the car's going to speed up then. So I can't just, right, let's put it out about here. Let's come back. I want to make sure that matches up. Make sure it matches all the way. It isn't at the moment, but what you want to do is you just want to go through and just make sure that you've got a match like so. And I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time, but I'm just going to show you the process like this. Just keep on going through, making sure it matches up, or you can motion track it, and I've got some tutorials on motion tracking if you need it. So just go through the channel and check for that. So let's go over there, like so. Just make sure it matches up, and you can go through and fine tweak this yourself. But yeah, so this is kind of what we've got. Yeah, so that's actually now the full shot done. So I wasn't expecting to actually do that, but there you go. We've got the full shot, and then these follow, the lights will follow the car as the car kind of drives away, like so. And what you will also probably need to do, actually I've just seen, is we need to animate this. Let's copy these positional keyframes. We need to animate these keyframes, this whatchamacallit, this ramp, so it goes with it as well. Otherwise it's going to go outside the fall off. So yeah, you see they go with it, which is great. Okay, so that's just a very quick tutorial showing you how to do a day to night conversion with a shot. I hope you guys learned something here and picked something up. Feel free to check out the rest of our videos. If you can, give us a like and a subscribe or comment, say what you thought, and check out our social media as well on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And cheers for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.